Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Pillage coverage here as we keep working our way through the Fall of Rome expansion, and there's just so much in here. So we got yet another faction here, and that is the Romano-British, so covering again Rome's expansion into the English Isles. So let's just jump right in here and see what we get. So equipment and special rules, we get the Romano-British Standard. So just like the Visigoths with that powerful banner ability, these guys get something as well. So they follow the same rules as ordinary banners. In addition, any enemy figure declaring a charge against a Romano-British figure that's within 6 of a Romano-British banner bearer takes a minus 2-inch penalty to their charge move, which is huge, or charge range, we should say. Again, that's just a powerful ability, and 6-inch bubble is going to cover a decent amount of real estate on the table there. So if we can pack a lot of our own figures in that range, we're going to have a little bit of isolation or insurance against charges. Not always going to work, especially if they're already fairly close, right? But that really can prevent some of the long distance charges from happening just outright. So really powerful stuff there. Talents, we get 2 of them, so we get 2 50-pointers here, so they're on the more expensive side. We get Equities Dumnoni. So basically, when a Romano-British cavalry figure charges from at least 6 inches away, it actually gets a +1 bonus to its roll to hit during the turn in which it charges. So basically, if we are actually running cavalry, our cavalry is just going to hit harder than anybody else's, essentially. We've got to have that at least 6-inch charge range away, but we're going to have a lot of opportunities where we can hopefully basically start right at that 6-inch range, and then just ideally get the charge off, and then boom, a +1 bonus to hit. More hits should equal more casualties over time. So good stuff there. Now cavalry is always going to be on the more expensive side of things, but hey, that is a nice strategy. And then finally, Bearer of the Holy Grail. So once per game, your chieftain can drink from the chalice at the start of the turn before the initiative phase. They can't take any damage for the rest of the turn. In addition, you get a +1 bonus to your initiative rolls for the rest of the game while your chieftain still lives. Really powerful stuff. So there's, it's a historical game, so there's really not hardly anything in the way of sort of supernatural things in Pillage here. But this one is straddling that border, but that's still a really cool ability. And if we have our chieftain in the thick of it, or if there's just like some fights basically that the chieftain has to get into, it's nice to essentially take this and have that once per game ability. So at least buying yourself a fair bit of invulnerability for that one turn. Really powerful stuff. And then also that bonus to initiative, as long as we can keep the chief alive, again, we should always try to keep a couple of bodyguards nearby, is going to be quite powerful, right? And if we can get that initiative, hopefully we can just have the chieftain go first, kill off some enemies before they get a chance to strike us. So really good stuff so far for the Romano-British. Now let's see what the army list actually looks like and see if it's up to snuff here. So they are not affected by heavy rain, which is, again, something that happens. Weather does play a role in the game from time to time. So just being able to ignore certain conditions versus certain other factions at times can be quite powerful. So they do get access to a healer and a supply wagon. It's worth noting there, although the supply wagon is a hefty 60 gold. Fairly standard cost here. Obviously the 10-point warrior, the 40-point chieftain. Unarmored is of course free. Looks like we're paying the normal price essentially for armor at 10 gold. Shields are cheap though, so 5 there. So fairly typical stuff. Some factions do get everything a little bit cheaper or even a little bit more expensive, but here that's pretty normal stuff. Improvised weapon, obviously free as well. Again, this is going to be another faction where the spear is going to be our bread and butter because it's the cheapest sort of actual good weapon that we get, and there's definitely a lot of things we can do with spear. So 5 gold a piece there, so we'll probably have a lot of troops there. We do pay another big tax though, with like where we saw the Vandals, or sorry, not the Vandals, the Visigoths, paying just through the roof for hand weapons. So somewhat similar here, but we have the Hasta and the hand weapon, 15 gold a piece. So that's going to obviously drive the cost up of our basic warriors. So if we want fully kitted out warriors, for example, we go with 10, 20, 25, and then 40 points for just a fully kitted warrior. So it's, again, going to be more on the elite side, so probably not too many of those guys in smaller games. So we'll probably see a few more of those, or be able to afford a few more of those in the larger games. But just something to be aware of. Obviously, we want to, I think, go all in on getting our chieftain fully equipped and just as good as we possibly can get him, right? Because again, all the abilities that we saw on the previous page, and obviously, losing our chieftain would certainly suck. So now, this is interesting on the ranged weapons, though. We do see the sling make a comeback here, and dirt cheap, so that, I think, is going to be a key component of this list, is just having a fair few of these slinger models in there. We do get, again, the Angon and the Plumbata as options as well, some of the newer ranged weapons. The bow is, again, still fairly expensive, but probably our just overall best long-range weapon. 25 there, so again, probably won't see too many of those. But it is nice to where we can maybe surround the standard bearer a little bit with some ranged options, start plinking away at the enemy, and again, if they're if the enemy's trying to charge us inside that bubble of the standard bearer, and with that special ability that we saw on the previous page, that can really make it quite tedious to sort of assault the sort of central grouping of your troops against these guys. But slings at 5 points, I think, is going to be a steal. No point in really, I think, investing in armor for these guys. So basically, 10-point warrior, 5-point sling, boom, we can field a fair bit of that in our list. Now, we did see, again, we do get bonuses to our horses here. So 30 gold for that. We can also get the chieftain mounted up, so that could be another really neat strategy. So that being said, a fully kitted out horseman is going to, again, be fairly expensive, right? So we go 10, 20, 25 again for armor. Let's say we get the hand weapon in there. Now we're at 40, 70 points for a horseman. Not unreasonable, but again, smaller games, we can maybe squeeze one in or something like that. But again, losing that model is obviously going to be quite a steep cost to play. But higher points, we can certainly afford a few. The banner's at 60. Again, that gets pretty expensive, but with everything that the banner can provide us, not just the normal rules, but the special variant, we're going to have to invest yet more points in there. And obviously that makes that banner bearer super important to keep that model alive. They do get access to the Warhorn, although they pay a pretty solid cost for that. But one other thing to note, which I was expecting that to be there, so it's cool to see that, they do get access to Warhounds, 40 gold for that. So just yet another thing that they can field here. So again, we got really cool special rules, really neat faction. We're going to pay fairly high for just like the elite troops here. But I think bread and butter of the list really is going to be a lot of spearmen, trying to maybe keep them a little bit cheaper. They are there to back up and support some of the more like elite guys, maybe with like the full armor and the hand weapon and stuff like that. We can definitely field a sort of nice core of cheap missile troops with a lot of slingers out there, maybe a bow or two, but also we could then throw in like some cavalry just for the mobility, or really just go with a more cavalry focused list backed up by, again, just maybe a couple of cheap slingers or something like that, although the Warhounds are a nice option as well. Really interesting to see some of the strategies here with the Romano-British and then their special rules as well. Let us know in the comments, guys, if you've tried out the Romano-British and what your thoughts are on the faction and how you've built your list so far, and any successes or failures that you've had with it. Hit us up in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.